goes, Mikey was driving my car, and he hopped out to take a piss after we went to the bar. And I was like, well, I got a piss too, so I'm going to hop out of the back seat and take a piss, because he was our DD.
Right.
And he gets back in the car and acts like he's pulling off, and I'm still pissing, and I'm going, waving him back, and he's slowly backing up. And as he gets to me, I spin around, and my nut and my dick we're hanging out, dude, and he goes, I see the dick! And he took off and just drove away.
Did he come back for you, or did you just make it off?
He better have came back for me, because I was pissed at that point. I was like, if I gotta walk all the way to Greg's, I'm gonna be fucking mad. So,
were you on 155?
We were going the back way from the Bull, back to Greg's house. And, well, I mean, that's what they get, though, man. They fucking leave me in my car.
Also, at any point in time, guess what? You could have gone for it.
I would have considered that your fault because you were showing guys your dick.
Well, they pulled off and fucked with me. He fucked with me first. That's what made me do it. If he would have sat for a second, none of that would have transpired.
I'm going to go ahead and say this. I cannot wait to review that footage because I overheard that story.
Well, that's what happened. It was my
Is
dick.
it recording right now?
It was my dick and one of my testicles hanging out up over my pants. As I turned around, because I knew he was looking in the mirror. So as I turned around,
You're like,
yeah, he got it.
Sword fight, motherfucker.
And then I brought it out. What'd he say? Oh, I didn't see it. All I seen was skin. No, you saw the ball dick.
Well, motherfucker, if you seen skin, you seen the fucking dick, right?
Exactly. So, in my opinion,
he got what he got.
He got what he deserved.
Yeah, I kind of think so too.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, phone off. Shit. All right. So here we are, week 9, gentlemen. I'm glad you find that funny. Week 9. Still shocked we haven't been canceled.
That story might have did it.
Yeah.
There's no images.
That was prior. But anyway, I of course am Gregor Guy, joined along here by Mr. Casey, and of course Cuz. It's good to see you both.
Good to see you. I don't know why I'm Mr. Casey and he's just Cuz. He's not Mr. Cuz? You're not Mr.
Well,
Guy?
I mean, it depends on,
Yeah, I want my Mr. in front of that. Mr.
Okay.
Cuz.
Mr. Cuz. Does that make you feel better about being you?
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Guy.
Ms. Cuz has a better ring to it.
Mrs.
Wait, hold on. Miss or Ms?
I like Ms. It's a shorter.
Yeah, it could go either way. Married or unmarried.
And
like you said,
2021.
it's one less letter.
They damn motherfuckers.
Yeah, that is the world we live in these days. Just saying.
I'm an attack helicopter.
Alright, anyway. Let's get right into it. We, this week, are going to talk about the fact that New Hampshire, in particular, they're not the only one, obviously, but in particular, it seems like they are probably the closest to actually pulling or beginning this process, rather, are talking about seceding from the United States of America. Which, okay, first of all, to me is really strange because New Hampshire is a blue state and we have a Democrat president. But I also assume that there are multiple underlying circumstances, so on and so forth, whatnot. But I would like to start with, your opinion just on the general idea of secession. And, obviously Texas is probably... We'll get into all that, but what do you got?
I think that I'm not 100% sure on the whole New Hampshire issue because that does seem like
they're actually close to coming to a vote. They're close to coming to a vote.
I'm going to have to definitely look more into that one. I do think that for most areas that it's not really a secession, that the states.
Well, it's not just areas; it's the entire state.
Right.
That is the major factor of this.
Right. And I do think that there should be more power given to the states, and that the federal government should be able to control as much law within the states. It's just become apparent that the country's too big, and that people want more control over their lives than just having one single entity control the way that they should live.
Right. Yeah, I totally understand that. As far as just giving control back to the individual and everything. I mean, that totally makes sense.
To feel that you're represented.
Okay, we'll get into that a little bit. But what do you got?
Well, I'm just going to feed into what he actually said. Our ancestors only had tribes that were only, at most, 150 people, right? So you have a bunch of people, millions of people, being controlled by small groups of people.
All right. Now, obviously, you are our resident Native American. So,
and I'm still not.
Did they not have like like the Iroquois nation? Like it was multiple tribes and everything. So it was kind of like a sort of a. I don't even know what the proper terminology and all is for it.
Well, just call it a tribe. Different tribes.
Right, but at the same point in time, wasn't there some sort, kind of like form of like governance that happened, within this particular tribe and so on and so forth?
Even in Native American tribes out west, they still have their own jurisdictions. So I guess it would be similar to that. I'm not too sure, but it's probably somewhere along the lines like they have their own police and everything else. Either way, you can't have a few people dictating what happens with millions of people. It's never worked that way. There's too many viewpoints and opinions to control a giant place.
Okay, well, going off that, are you saying that there are too many people in the United States of America for the federal government to be able to justify whatever types of laws and so on and so forth that they decide to pass?
Right, yeah. Because each state is different, depending on their population and what they believe in.
I actually 100% agree with that. Do you have any opinions on that matter?
I think, this is something I saw off of Tim Pool, was that he was believing that things are just moving too fast nowadays. Back in the past, you used to have to, the Congress would meet like maybe 1 or 2 times a year. They'd have to travel from all the way across the country to all meet up.
Let me say this. Back when the country was originally founded, it took you like basically 4 weeks to fucking ride a horse to wherever the fuck you were going.
Right.
Now, shit is a lot different.
Now laws and ideas are being transferred at literally millisecond speeds.
Instantaneously, internet.
And
just information in general is just...
And things are just moving too fast for most of the country. And a lot of ideas, they might come up in an area, but they get flushed out over time as becoming bad ideas. And something that shouldn't be continued or pushed because you see the results of those ideas or those laws being passed in those areas. So to instantaneously push something on people that they may or may not agree with and not see the results of it is just morally incorrect.
Okay. I once again, also totally agree with that. But my question would be to you, why, at that point in time, I don't necessarily want to call it a particular party here, but why do you vote, along party lines versus what is best for the people that you actually represent?
It's money and power. And a lot of these people that are in those areas that are getting voted for don't specifically come from those areas. They come from a different area they buy a house there. Some areas may have laws where you have to live there so long, but regardless, they're not thinking locally about their area. They're thinking nationally about their party that gave them the funds to become.
And they're looking
elected
for
in
the
first
next
place.
step is kind of what you're saying.
Right.
Obviously, I'm sure a House of Representatives makes less than let's just say, senator.
Right.
Kind of deal. What are your opinions on that?
I think it's just survivability, right?
As far as?
When you have that type of power, do you really want to lose it? Even if you believe something else, you're going to go along with the people that are giving you resources, whether you believe in it or not.
As far as monetary.
Yeah, it's monetary. And
So it's basically, you just vote whoever pays for your campaign
right.
wants you to vote.
Unfortunately, I think that's how it is.
I mean, honestly, my opinion is that it's sad, but yeah, I could definitely see that being
Yeah.
the case.
I mean, it's politics. Would you trust a politician?
Well, and we had this discussion before. That's why there needs to be like a cap, I believe, on number one, political campaign spending.
Right. Yeah.
That would make so much of a difference.
Right.
I believe is to actually getting the right people who actually look out for the people that they were elected to represent, so on and so forth. Okay, well, I mean that's an interesting point too. Do you have any comments on that?
Our society is very fickle and fragile, and our politicians forget that. People of the past created this shit for a reason because they've been through some fucking hardships and they've seen what tyrannical and
I mean they were basically oppressed by England and the
well,
whole American
even
Revolution.
just throughout history, you know what I mean? You had dictators and all that. Like people today
Right, but
are trying
that
to change things.
didn't necessarily affect the United States of America in
The
particular,
way-
other than after the American Revolution. I mean, granted, there was probably some stuff before that.
But the way it's set up right now is very fragile. And the way people just throw, oh, well, I got money, so I'm going to dictate the way I think this way.
Right.
Eventually, it's going to crumble.
Well,
Burns did the same thing.
what isn't fragile, honestly?
Ah,
This fireplace isn't fragile.
doesn't even
That-
work.
It doesn't. The terracotta behind the fireplace is fragile. Oh, here we go. Do you have anything to add? No?
No, not on that.
All right, fair enough.
I seen the steam coming
We
out.
can't win them all. Anyway. Okay, so. Anyway, there has, like I said, New Hampshire is probably going to be the first one to put this on a referendum, on a statewide ballot, which, more power to them. Okay? So what happens when Texas soon follows suit, and I believe you told me Arizona will probably be the
And Florida.
number 3, Florida probably number 4. At that point in time, does it just like totally spiral out of control, and then there's just these different, countries, states, or I don't even know what to call them, quite honestly.
There would probably have to be a deal in place because a state in general can't leave the United States without government permission. That is,
I'm pretty sure it's up to the state.
I don't believe that's correct. I would have to look into that further.
Yeah, we would have to
Yeah,
look up
that's-
that
that's-
particular thing. That is true.
But I'm under the assumption that the country has to allow the state to leave. Also, I think that would be horrible if Texas left the country because, in many ways, that would abandon a lot of the people in the rest of the country that vote certain ways.
The rest of the country just moved to Texas. Texas is big.
Texas is a big state, but I mean, not everybody has the resources. If everybody in upstate New York that votes kind of the same way Texas does, if everybody in upstate New York wanted to leave to Texas, they would have to sell their property. And if everybody's selling their property, that property would be worth literally nothing, and then everybody would be moving to Texas with nothing. It would be no different than people crossing the border from Mexico than it would be the rest of the United States of America moving to Texas.
What are your opinions on that?
First thing that comes to my mind is the import-export and the implications of that. Because if all of the states eventually become their own quote-unquote country, there's going to be border lines, and then they're going to need resources to survive. How are they going to get them? Is it going to be really expensive in, like, say, the Midwest, where they don't have any, like, rivers or oceans to bring boats in? Or how is that going to work? I think there's
debate, fiasco. Obviously, the majority of, U.S. citizens live in cities.
Right.
Obviously, more dense population, so on and so forth. And, anyone with a brain can realize how most of these particular cities vote. And, and they are also the least, I guess they possess the least amount of square miles of like a population, so on and so forth. I'm not even know if I'm saying that right, but does that make any sense?
per capita, maybe?
Well, no. Per capita, there are more in there, but they control the least amount of
Land?
square mileage in the U.S.
Sure.
Okay, are we on the same page now?
Gotcha.
That's why you look at a map of what happened during the elections, and you can see almost the entire country red and only spots of blue. Those are those cities. There's cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, Boston, Baltimore, Philadelphia. All those cities, they all vote blue, but the rest of the country votes red.
Going off that, would it be wise? Well, not necessarily wise, but would it be? How can I say this and not sound like an asshole? Would it be smart for these cities just to become their own states and leave whatever current state they're in?
I think that the cities need to relinquish control of what the rest of the state does. I think cities should become maybe some type of municipality of their own, and not because the cities don't represent what the states what the full rest of the state believes or thinks. I like to say that cities live in dream worlds where consumer items like food, for example, just appears in their stores. They don't understand. They don't really create.
They don't understand that it takes the rest of the state to actually grow said food
Right.
and
Right.
bring in
what it takes to make this stuff.
Right. 100% agree. Do you have anything on that?
Yeah. So the cities were designed at one point in time for the people in the suburban areas to go and work. Eventually, the people in the suburban areas.
Not back in the 1700s.
No, not that far back.
You're talking about more recent.
Recent-ish.
Fair enough.
So the people in the suburban areas.
After the invention of the automobile.
Yes. That's how all the cities are designed. What happened was the people in the suburban areas started living in the urban areas. Now you have these urban areas that are out of control in population. And
so
they don't
people
live.
move from the suburbs to the city.
Right. And now you have a couple generations of people totally engulfed in the urban area.
Okay. I don't really think it happened like that, but I'll take your word for it.
That's how it's designed.
I did just think of something that how the cities major focuses on when they're passing bills or whatnot. They're more focused on like social or cultural issues, which to the rest of the country in general means nothing.
Okay. I understand what you're saying, but this is what I would say to that. Like I said, let's say, for instance, Baltimore, because, that's the closest city to us, right? Passes some new form of law. It's basically tailored to whatever they believe whoever is in power is their voter base at that period of time.
Whatever benefits them.
Exactly. And I mean, that's kind of my whole entire take on, just like, in particular, local representation.
Do you think laws should be made based on social or cultural issues?
I do not.
Well, I mean, I don't know what to say about that other than why are they doing it then?
Well, what do you think?
Why are they doing it? I don't know.
No,
Boredom?
not why are they doing it. Do you think they should make laws based on social or culture?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so we're all in agreement,
Right?
Well,
But they are.
They do it because they believe that it will wind up getting them reelected.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to say on it.
Right.
Do you
I
agree or
I agree.
disagree? Do you agree or disagree?
I agree.
Man, shocker, nailed it.
And in urban areas, how many of those people really have done, like, working class jobs? Most of them do, I don't want to necessarily say bullshit jobs, but...
Yeah, they're pretty much bullshit.
Yeah.
There is a lot of bullshit jobs.
Yeah,
But
like-
there is a large working class within the cities.
Congratulations! You're now the director of the Board of Education. Congratulations! You're now the director of Waste Management, or not Waste.
Well, no,
Management,
because that's more
not
suburban.
company, but you're the director of Health and Human Services or something.
Right.
You want a grass latte? You're the manager now.
There's a lot of chiefs out there.
Especially in the city.
Okay, so going back to the city versus like country kind of
Urban, suburban.
urban suburban. That's probably more accurate. And also going. Okay, think about this, right? How we elect our president, right, is based on the Electoral College,
Right.
correct? I don't really want to, go too in depth on that, but you both are like semi-familiar with the, how it all works and everything, correct? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, if let's just say that these cities leave said states, okay, what does that do to the Electoral College, and would that just require major candidates just to try and, what's the word I'm looking for?
Reevaluate.
No, not reevaluate, but,
So are these cities creating their own states?
okay, all right, just for the sake of argument, let's say that these cities are now new states.
If they okay, so now we're adding per each city that leaves the union or leaves the state, we're adding 2 senators per city.
Well, okay, all right. This is not. This is too hypothetical
Yeah, I
at
was
this
gonna
point
say,
in time. Let's just say. What I was getting at, it was, would it not just force a candidate to try and gain the votes from these particular cities instead of caring about the entire rest of the fucking country?
depends on what get them votes. What's going to keep them in office?
Well, okay. Let's throw out the Electoral College on top of that.
Okay.
All right.
There's no Electoral College.
we are going to come back to the
We're
Electoral
going
College.
direct democracy. Is that what
We're
talking
going
about?
popular vote.
Popular vote. Popular votes. Then the candidates of the
All they
presidency.
have to do is campaign in the cities.
All they would have to do is campaign and win
Campaign is the word
in
I
New
was
York
looking for.
City, L.A., and Chicago, and then ignore the rest of the country.
And at the same point in time, what do you think, would come out of a system like that?
Chaos.
You would be enslaving the rest of the country to those three cities.
The United States would fall. You need the suburban people. They're the backbone of the whole country.
Right? I agree.
As he was, we were talking about earlier with, the food production.
Yeah. How the
that.
how the fuck are you gonna survive if you just negate everybody else? And then
so the candidate's going to come in and say, for the city, we're gonna make food cost literally nothing. Actually, you know what? We're just going to give everybody in the city free food.
Don't they do that already?
All you have to, well, kind of in a way. All you have to do is go to the store, fill up your shopping cart, and go home. And guess where the cost of that is all going to push down on the rest of the country. And everybody in the cities are going to get free shit. All their stuff they're going to have the best of everything. And does that sound like a movie to you?
I'm gonna cut in on this. Let me cut in on this.
It does, but
what you're saying basically is saying everybody else in the suburban area is going to catch on to that, and then it's just going to be one giant fucking city because everybody else is going to be like, "Fuck this," and go live in the city if they can just live for free.
But why would they let people in the city?
Is that the way you think it would be?
What else
would you go live in the city if they were like, "Hey, free food"?
Would you go to work every day and waste your whole entire life if people in the city were doing whatever they wanted and still?
No, I'd start my own compound, grow my own food, do my own shit.
But you still got to pay taxes and shit. And if the government's just going to give you money,
you'd be creating second-class citizens. The rest of the country would be second-class citizens. The cities would be first.
I would move right to the city. I wouldn't put up with that shit. I mean, I don't want to live in the city, but I'm not going to fucking work basically for free so somebody else can fucking benefit off of it.
You wouldn't be working for free. You'd still be getting paid, but everything that you bought would cost more because you're giving free stuff to the cities and everybody else has to pay for it.
Right. And eventually, the people that are paying for it are going to be like, fuck this.
At some point, the cities...
A revolution happens.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, a revolution would happen.
Yeah. One of the two things, they're going to be peaceful about it and move to and just be one big gigantic city, or they're going to split the country in half. Which is probably going to happen.
Okay, my only problem with that is, let's just say, as what you said happens, where, you just got to supply, the major cities with food. Right. What happens with the people that don't live in the cities? They're like, guess what? We're not driving that truck full of food to the city.
That's what we're talking about. Why the fuck would we do that?
Because you're just begging for scraps.
Yeah.
You're doing
all the labor and getting scraps in return. Right. While people that don't know how to survive.
There would definitely be uprisings. I guarantee that.
I wonder who would win.
I would. Fair to say that the outside areas would win, but that's not a guarantee because these cities have all the money and power, and
what does money do with bullets?
They have the people.
They buy more.
People too. Yeah, they just buy more.
That's what money does.
The citizens
they buy more.
Hang on, the citizens in urban areas.
But also at the same point in time in LA, I mean, it's probably unless you're in a gang or something, very difficult to own a gun.
Yeah.
So
look, who you gonna vote for? You gonna vote for the dude that lives in a city that has a fucking pea shooter? Or you gonna vote for the dude with the sniper rifle that hunts in the fucking woods?
Oh, I know who I'm going with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the difference between people in the city and people in the country.
Well, if there was an uprising, who would win? It doesn't matter about the population; it matters about the grit and the skill.
Well, it's more or less about how you come prepared to the situation.
Right.
I would say.
And we all know who's more prepared.
But let's be honest that there's a lot of people that live in the country that all they care about is the money anyways. Also, at the same time.
Right. They might drive to the city to work and then live in the country. That's true. But they're probably a little bit just because of their neighbors.
Was that what you were trying to say?
What was it?
What he said. You may work in the city, but then you commute back home to the country.
I mean,
or were you trying to make a different point?
I'll say that there's a lot of truck drivers. If the city just pays you more to drive stuff to the city, people are going to take those jobs because they're paying you more.
Fair enough. Okay, all right, now, obviously, that was an entire scenario where the Electoral College did not exist, correct?
Right.
Okay, now, let's just go
On
ahead
the
and
brink of
say...
anarchy, basically, is what that was.
It got a little touchy there for a second. But now let's roll back into a spot where the Electoral College is still in practice. What happens? I mean, obviously we all know what happens with as soon as the first state succeeds or secedes from the Union, the United States. Do you foresee the dominoes falling and multiple states following? Or do you see, some sort of like federal intervention to where like, no. You can't do that.
I see something different than that. What do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Well, I see, in my opinion, kind of like the whole weed thing with Colorado, where they paid attention to what Colorado was doing, and then followed suit based off of facts and evidence afterwards. So I think it would be a slow burn. Whoever goes first, everybody's going to keep a watchful eye on and see how it plays out. And if it plays out a certain way that they think is appropriate, they'll fucking do the same thing.
Okay. What do you got on that?
I would disagree with that. Everybody's going to wait. I mean, just the way the world is today, everybody's like, as soon as one thing happens, another thing happens, the dominoes start falling, the floodgates would be open, and then there would be so many areas or states that believe that they want to leave as well. And
but they would be logical and there'd be implications for doing that. You know what I mean? Like if you leave our country, then
What do you mean by implications?
with the whole taxation, with the imports and exports and all of that,
Okay,
there's
well,
a lot
I mean,
more.
that's a totally different thing that, we'll actually...
Well, how are you gonna
get
survive?
into it a
we
little bit,
we actually have an example of that. To be honest with you, with Brexit, when Britain left the Europe,
the EU.
the EU, they left and they are doing perfectly fine.
But that's its own
They were part of
singular situation.
They were part of Europe. They were part of Europe, and they still traded.
You don't think
together.
the federal government's not going to take advantage of a
Well,
state trying to be independent?
okay, this is my point, and hear me out, and then I'll get each of your responses. As soon as the federal government starts losing tax revenue, they're going to start feeling it, and they're going to feel it pretty quickly. And then they're going to be like, yep, guess what? That's not going to work for us. So, I am going to assume that the federal government, in some way, shape, or form, whether it be National Guard, or, doing the very most illegal thing of deploying the U.S. military to the streets of what they still consider a part of the U.S., whether they are trying to secede or not.
Like a martial law type of deal?
It's one of those situations where it's going to be very unpopular, but I could totally 100% see him doing it. So,
I find it very difficult to believe that the U.S. military is going to fire upon its own citizens.
the military itself, but at the same point in time, they will deploy the National Guard first, and if that still does not work, then they will.
The National Guard is run by the state.
Exactly.
But don't you think the
Well,
federal
no,
government...
but you can conscript the, National Guard of other states to send them somewhere else. That's why, let's say they have a hurricane down in Louisiana. Guess what? Maryland National Guard can still go down there.
Right.
Now, Ken said they were going to follow suit, but then you talked about the federal government. Now, if they see that they're losing money on the first state that tries to be independent...
Well, guess what? They're going to lose money from every state that tries to become independent.
Right, but I'm just saying, with my whole slow burn opinion on it.
On what?
On it, when the first state tries to be independent and the federal government sees that they're losing money.
Yeah, it's going to be an instant thing.
You think, yeah, you think that all the other ones are going to follow suit? Probably not.
Well, that depends on how committed they are to being independent from
and if they're going to make any kind of money
particular system.
Because they can tax the fuck out of a fucking state if it becomes independent.
Well, it's all dependent.
They control
it's
the
all
borders
dependent
of
upon what you import and what you export.
Right.
Realistically.
And plus,
Let's say
international waters, once you come in, that's not international waters anymore. So they still control the water system around that state, whether they come in or not.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about. Yeah, Texas has got a pretty robust port system. Florida would be even better.
California has one though, also, and
no one
the
really cares
Gulf,
about California.
Alabama, or was Alabama, Mississippi.
You don't think they'll put a halt to that real quick and fucking put a boundary out in the water system?
I mean, I'm sure they'll try.
Well,
at the same point in time, what are they going to do? Hold up more than like 70 fucking goddamn cargo ships that are still sitting off the coast of LA?
There's cargo ships sitting out in the water right now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not the government holding them up. It's just they got no workers at the port.
Think that matters to them? If they can make more money and leave the ships out in the port, not really.
All right, I have an idea though. Why don't I propose something to you guys?
Okay.
I propose that the United States federal government taxes the states and not the citizens. I propose that the federal government should only, through the U.S. Constitution, protect the rights of the citizens.
Question though before you go forward.
Okay.
What would the states do after they do that?
They're free to make more robust laws as long as it doesn't interfere with the Constitution. Freedom of speech.
Basically the 26 amendments we already have.
Right.
All right.
Do you think that they would tax the citizens in the state?
They're going to have
that depends on them. They're going to tax the citizens. Yeah, they're obviously the states would tax the government. The federal government would tax the states, and the states would tax the citizens.
Right, but at the same point in time, you're no longer paying federal income tax. You're just. I mean, I assume you're probably state income tax is probably going to like almost double.
Yeah, they're going to make up for it.
You're probably. What does that do for like Social Security, which also will not probably be available to us when we are ready to collect it?
We could consider that.
What happens if you work in a different state?
We consider that infrastructure. We could consider it.
My dad works in a different state and
Right.
has to pay 2 state taxes on the shit he makes. So.
We could have still a federal.
I don't know. I don't know how that all works.
A federal skin and bones infrastructure.
Concept, but
the federal government would continue to fund and repair the interstates. They would continue to fund.
So they still collect the tax on gasoline and so on and so forth. That's what I'm saying. And on top of that, what about electric vehicles?
Yeah, there's
Are they collecting the tax on electricity nowadays?
And what about welfare? That would have to be cut down.
I would consider that part of a federal infrastructure, social safety net, or the
welfare?
states, or the states could take care of it too.
It would have to be a state thing, with
Right.
what you're proposing.
Right.
It would have to be a state thing.
Okay. And then the different states would have different laws, and then they would have more power within. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm taking a lot of the power away from the federal government and giving that power to individual states, so that the citizens of those states feel better represented by the people that they have in charge.
I mean, wait, hear me out. You don't understand? Right. No. This is just spitballing.
Yeah.
Right.
I like the concept. There's a lot of stuff
It's more complex.
that needs to be worked out,
Yeah.
obviously.
Right. Correct.
Okay? I'll start off by saying that. Yeah, I think after it actually all does get worked out, all gets fleshed out, everything just gets figured out. Obviously you can't just be like, oh, we're doing this. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
No. This is going to take time, years, decades.
We'll be dead by the time.
Probably.
Right.
If
it even starts now.
But I do like the concept.
Right.
I really do.
Yeah. The overall structure of it.
So we would all still be considered part of the United States. We'd all support each other in many ways. So if we have national disasters or something like that, the federal government, from the states, would help each
We'd all be
state.
branched together.
Right. And I believe, in my personal opinion, that's originally how the United States was come, and it's all become more and more
way more centralized than it used to be.
Right.
Now, what happens
or what
if
it was
one or
envisioned
more
back in the
states-
1776 or
Right.
What happens if one or more states is lacking behind?
as far as
desperately
what
in
they
debt
owe.
and everything.
That
And
sounds
other
like
states
that
are-
sounds like a state problem. Sounds like they need to figure their own stuff out. There's harsher penalties. Like it's like bailing out major corporations that fail. That they should just let them fail, honestly, because all we're doing is having a bad idea
But then
continue.
what do you think their state should just become another state and the state should be bigger? Or how do you envision that? Because there's a... Like, if they fail, then obviously, what are you going to do with that? Just give it to Mexico or what?
If the state fails, then they need to change the way they're doing things. Maybe at that point the federal government needs to step in and.
Would the state be able to declare bankruptcy?
Like a corporation.
Like a corporation. Yeah, I mean, these are all questions that
Right.
need
Yeah,
to
like
be
it's-
answered, in this particular thing. But at the same point in time, guess what? The United States federal government is on the verge of probably, I would say, not necessarily declaring bankruptcy, but they are close to the bankrupt state. $28.4 trillion. And they want to raise the debt ceiling.
They make sure you pay your taxes on time, don't they?
It's kind
Kinda hypocritical.
It's going to happen very soon, but they're going to increase taxes majorly here. within the next 5
Inflation's
to 10
already
years.
happening.
Inflation's been happening.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well,
Get
it's
right
gradually, but they're hitting it pretty hard now because of it.
All right. Anyway, anything else? Because look, that's a genius concept, but I just don't
There's a
know.
lot of interest.
I don't know how it could actually work. I mean, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll run for president on that agenda.
Okay.
You will be my Secretary of State, and you will be my driver.
I don't get a cool fucking driver.
Secretary of Driver?
Fuck. I can't be defense or
Okay,
nothing.
wait.
What the fuck?
No, you can't.
I can't be Secretary of Defense.
It'd be like you go to the team, all right?
We'll put you in front of the Food and Drug
You really-
Administration.
Wow.
You'll lead the FDA.
Time out. Ken gets a better job than I do? What the fuck? I'm running for president. Fuck you then. I'm your competition.
He's
shit.
right. He's right. We'll make you director of the Food and Drug Administration.
Look. You run for president, I'm running for president. I see how this is playing out. I'm not being your fucking driver. You'll be my driver if I win.
No, it won't. I'll just fucking move.
Okay, well that's fine.
Because I know this shit is going to fuck.
Tell me I'll be a driver. Fuck out of here. Give me the goddamn next question.
I was just trying to come up with something off the cup of that.
That's the worst job you can give somebody. You butler
That
and
is-
you bring you
that
some
is-
fucking
that is
food.
not
You're
true.
a good driver, though. That's
Am I?
yeah. You are a good driver.
Well, if you're president,
He's a good driver too.
I'm a slow fucking driver. You don't want me fucking driving.
Exactly. I'll be sitting in the back all the time. I'll be like, "Hey, go faster, motherfucker!"
You're basically saying Ken is eligible to call shots, but I have to be the driver. A million other jobs you could assign me to. You tell me I'm gonna be the fucking driver. Go to the next question, Dick. Go to the next
No,
question.
I want to finish up on this. What do you think is an appropriate job that, let's just say, by some
off-
miracle.
He should be Secretary of Defense, Mr. Military.
Isn't that what I said?
No, you said Secretary of State.
Oh, I meant Secretary of Defense.
Okay, well then who could be Secretary of State? I wonder who.
Well, first of all, you got to talk to other motherfuckers.
Secretary of
I don't
State.
give a shit.
Secretary of
Like,
State
motherfuckers you don't know.
I don't care.
is basically the president's assistant.
Do you talk to other motherfuckers you don't know?
Yeah, all the time.
Barely. How you gonna be president?
By winning college.
You're not exactly a social butterfly, bro. So
I don't.
look, putting your nose in a girl's
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
I didn't say anything.
I know you didn't say anything, but shut the fuck up anyway. And you especially shut the fuck up.
Oh, shit.
We will talk about this as soon as we hit stop on the fucking...
You are crushing his hopes and dreams.
You fucking...
We, the people of this podcast,
Want to talk about French fries?
are going to talk about Greater Idaho and the concept of Greater fucking Idaho.
No, fuck.
You know,
I wanted to do that way, but sorry.
the concept of Greater Idaho is that people from counties from Oregon and California want to leave their states and join Idaho, which they feel better represents them.
Okay, well, why would they join Idaho of all states? It was my first question.
It is a more rural state. It is a more rural red state that identify, or they believe identifies better with the way that they believe and think and want to live their lives.
Plus, don't the Midwest states, like, they kind of alternate. Like, Californians go to Idaho and stuff like that out in the Midwest, and then the Midwest people go to California a lot, too. I've noticed that in a lot of, like,
I mean, it's a free
YouTube
country.
videos
A lot of people move to. I mean, a lot of people are leaving California for a lot of other places.
Right.
A lot of the more freedom-minded Californians are moving to Texas and Florida. A lot of businesses are moving from California to Florida.
Interesting.
There's just better taxes, better corporate taxes, better and living standards. If you live in the city, or if your corporation's based in the city, you're just surrounded by people shitting all over the place in California.
I've seen the number one place to move right now is Temple, Texas, as far as, like, making money and, like, living and everything.
There's a time that somewhere, what's the capital? Des Moines, Iowa, was one of the highest per capita areas to live in for
Des Moines, Iowa, or Idaho?
Iowa.
Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay, Iowa.
Yeah.
All right. I was wrong.
Per capita, the average income is one of the highest in the country, if you can believe that.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I believe anything nowadays, as long as it seems as far-fetched as...
Now, I don't know what kind of businesses are in Des Moines, Iowa, but obviously it's very profitable.
There's people, like,
Cartels.
I have a friend that jumps around from state to state depending on where he can make money and the most efficient way to live.
Right.
And that's what he's doing to save his money, so when he gets old, he can just fucking, wherever he liked the most. He jumped around, just fucking retire in that state. So.
Well, I in my personal opinion, someone that hops around from state to state probably enjoys doing that, and it's probably never going to stop. It's just the way he's going to live his whole life.
But he's saving money the whole time. That's his whole main goal, is to make the most money for his time.
There's just some people that can't sit around in one place for too long. They have to keep moving.
Fancy motherfuckers and shit, right?
Yeah, I'd probably do the same thing.
Well,
I'm glad we got that out the way.
that part's out.
Okay.
Anyway, going back to the whole idea of Greater Idaho and all that stuff.
Greater Idaho.
Now, in your opinion, obviously, California controls 54 electoral votes, correct?
Correct.
What happens when, number one, if this actually happens and it becomes this whole Greater Idaho idea, as far as, I assume that those are going to be more like a red-leaning, counties and everything that is going to be going to Greater Idaho and everything and whatnot. I'm going to tell you exactly what happens, and let me tell you about, or I want to get your opinion on the repercussions of it. First of all, California itself will go down, at its value in the Electoral College. Number two,
Not a lot. I'll tell you why it's not going to be a lot. because these are rural areas moving out. They're still going to keep the same amount of senators for California. They're still going to keep the same amount of
They're going to keep the same amount of senators, but a number of House of Representatives are going to go down too. That's what I was just about to say before you cut me off.
Right, but it's not going to be a lot because these are rural areas and House of Representatives are done by population.
Right, but at the same point in time, those Electoral College votes get rolled into Idaho. Those House of Representatives get rolled into Idaho.
Right. But I mean, how many is that going to be?
How close?
Maybe,
how close?
maybe like five.
How close is the House right now? How close is most of the?
It's very close. It's almost 50-50. Almost, not quite.
So what happens when the people that actually skew with more people that they skew with actually get rolled into there and those numbers go up?
I mean, obviously it's gonna change things slightly, but. I, in my personal opinion, it's not going to be more than 5 senators, five House of Representatives members.
I honestly don't even think it's going to be that much.
Right.
I mean, I would say probably 3 Electoral College votes, probably 3. Also, I'd have to relook at the map. It might actually be more like you're saying, like 5. But I would need population numbers.
I believe the biggest difference would be probably more along the lines of taxes. What the people make.
Well, I gotta assume that your taxes are going to be cheaper in Idaho than they are in California.
Oh, absolutely. But California and Oregon are both going to lose tax.
And fair enough. And that also re-rolls back into the thing to where at some point in time these people that are in charge are going to be like, nah, you can't do that because we're losing the dollar bills, and that's why they will. That is realistically the only reason that they will post, moves like this. In my opinion,
I agree. They're what this Greater Idaho movement, and by the way, they're not going to change the name of Idaho to Greater Idaho.
I hope they do.
I want a sack of potatoes
from Greater Idaho.
I might buy a square foot in the not country. In the state of Greater Idaho, just to say I own a piece of Greater Idaho.
The only way
I'm better than you,
and I won't plant one potato in there.
The only way that it's going to become successful is if they can make the rest, the rest of the state or the people in power of that state feel pain in some way or another. And to be able to do that without breaking laws.
As soon as they just start taking a financial hit, they're gonna be like, whoa.
Right.
Well,
they have before they can do that, before they can leave, because they already know what's gonna happen.
At that point in time, they're gonna have to rebalance their entire budget and everything.
That's correct.
I mean, it's first of all more work than any one of them want to do.
I mean, I don't think Idaho is going to complain about the extra.
Hell taxes. No, they're not. They'll be like, how much extra money we got? All right. Cha-ching. I mean, that is true. Like I said, it basically all boils down to the willingness of these government officials to work with other people who, frankly, don't really particularly care for them. Now, granted, like I said before, they will not let those tax dollars go freely at all. Whether there needs to be some sort of long-term either bleed down, run down, or some sort of kickback, trickle down, whatever the fuck you want to fucking call it. Doesn't fucking matter. They will not. Whether it's on a county, basis, whether it's on a state basis, whether it's on a
they'll make up for it somewhere.
City basis, whether they're just not going to let that tax revenue leave instantly. So
that's why I'm saying they're going to have to find a way to become a thorn in the side and to make the states of California and Oregon make it not worth their while.
Not worth their while to what? Keep them?
To keep them.
Okay. Where's the state of Oregon going? I don't even think we talked about this.
What do you mean, where's the state of Oregon going?
You just said the state of California and Oregon.
Right. Because those counties are coming.
Okay. We're back on the Greater Idaho thing.
Right.
Okay.
In some form or another, they have to find a way to become more of a problem to the state than they are a benefit.
Okay, well, just really briefly, what do those counties in California have any fucking thing to do with Oregon?
It's just an agreement between all the counties that they want that. This is a movement. This isn't really just some people in a county.
Are there counties in Oregon that want to?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know.
It's a combination of counties in California and a combination of counties in Oregon that want.
So
to
also, not only California could potentially lose.
Correct. But
Electoral
Oregon could
votes.
as well.
And House of Representatives, so could Oregon. Oh man, it's interesting.
What does Oregon offer anyway?
It's just a
Fucking
state like
ducks or
any
something.
other. I don't know. What's Montana offer?
Did you say canvas?
No, I said ducks.
Oh, there's ducks in Oregon?
They got it. That's the university.
I always forget about Oregon.
Can you even spell Oregon?
Yeah, the Oregon Trail.
But how do you spell it?
O-R-A-G-O-N.
Okay. Can you say the little letter?
O-R-A-G-O-N.
Perfect.
Alright, well, you're asking the person that reads in the group how to spell something, so.
Anyway,
How do you spell onomatopoeia?
Nobody. I don't know how to spell it.
Alright.
I don't even think that's a real word. But
It is. It's an Indian word.
okay, well, it's
Abdullah Amlagada.
it's a once again a word that I would never use in my daily life.
Part of your brain.
No, you're talking about the Abdullah Oblongata.
That's what I just said.
I thought you said the Abdullah Oblongata.
Say Abdullah.
Sound-
Abdullah.
That's what it sounded like. Abdullah.
How do you spell it?
There's a whole lot of filler, worthless filler in all of these conversations we're doing today.
All right, okay. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. We're moving on to the last
Shut the
topic.
fuck up.
All right, okay.
Back on topic.
Moving from
Hey, if you can tell us to shut the fuck up, I'm going to get him back on topic too.
moving from
Fair
Idaho
enough.
and their potatoes, we have something else about potatoes that we want to talk about.
That's the silliest transition.
I'm
that I've
fucking
ever heard.
doing
But,
it.
I mean, it was a
I
great
can't.
attempt.
Speaking
It was a
of
great attempt.
Keith Hanley.
You're out of control.
I know.
Jesus.
Jesus
Did
isn't
you
going
bring
to
a
help
trank
you,
gun?
bro.
No.
Jesus
Shut
isn't
up.
going to help you.
Anyway, Wendy's is apparently changing their fries. So, I will start by saying this. Their fries, ever since I guess it was like 2004, maybe, somewhere, they changed their fries and they fucking
The
suck.
boardwalk fries.
Whatever they changed them to, they were fucking terrible. But the fries back in the late 90s, early 2000s were fucking phenomenal.
I honestly don't remember the fries prior to the current fry they have at Wendy's, and I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of the current fries of Wendy's either, compared to other restaurants. I'll eat them, but it's whatever.
It's alright, fair enough. Wait, you got anything on Wendy's fries?
Wendy's fries?
Yeah.
I mean, I dip them in Frosties, so I really can't.
Oh, okay, alright. I have problems with these individuals, alright? How are you going to dip a french fry in fucking ice cream?
Because you got the sweet and you got the salt.
I can see it. I mean, we had bacon with
We had Bacon Day, and we ate it with God knows what the fuck it was.
Yeah, I think it was bacon wrapped in brownies.
Brownies.
It's like the sweet and salty type.
Were you
thing.
there for that?
No.
Yeah, with Weird Brian.
Oh, you were there?
Jesus.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, I'm playing a NASCAR game. Whose fucking house?
No, we weren't playing a game.
Someone was playing a NASCAR game. It was like in a basement setting.
At Pat's house.
Yep, that's up. Anyway, okay. So, shit, he was there?
I don't fucking remember.
You took
Anyway.
me there. Anyway, I just remember Weird Brian and brownies because he was cooking them. And
Yeah, and he deep fried, or he wrapped little brownie bits in bacon, and we deep fried them, and I'm gonna be honest not saying we're delicious, but
Okay, can I say this? Shut the fuck up and get back to the French fry! Alright, go ahead, keep going. Yes, I dipped the Wendy's French fries in the frosting.
I just don't see how it's...
Have you ever tried it?
I have not.
Okay.
My question to each of you will be, whose French fries do you believe are superior? Vastly, number one, overall, superior to any other fast food French fries. Not even necessarily fast food, but I mean, obviously not like a restaurant.
You're talking about fast food.
Basically, a shit you can be like, hey, let me get some fries, and they'll be
Here
like,
now, George. Boo boo.
here you go, bam.
My number one fry is the curly fry from Arby's.
That's solid. That's solid.
I gotta say the waffle fry. Chick-fil-A.
From Chick-fil-A. I personally enjoy Burger King fries myself, but the Arby's fries is a very close second. Just because they got like different spices and everything.
And then I also had the regular fries at Arby's, and I'm not impressed. They're in my opinion, they're like one of the worst fries. Other than Wendy's. Wendy's fries are awful, personally, in my opinion. But they're pretty good damn.
I can't believe you don't remember the old fries from Wendy's, because we all loved them.
Well, I have to be honest. You have to remember, I lived in Germany for almost half my childhood life. So, I mean, there's no Wendy's, and there was no Wendy's in Germany.
Yes, but you hung out with me in high school.
Did they have them then? Because I'll be honest, I don't remember the fries at all. It doesn't stick out in my mind.
We'll talk about this.
What makes you two like those fries? Is it the crunch? Because I like
as far as what you mean, are you talking about me particularly with Burger King and him particularly with?
Because I like the actual potato inside the fry, like with the waffle fry from Chick-fil-A.
But I also, at the same point, I don't think you really get that.
You do in the waffle fry. When it comes to Arby's, to me, it's just the crunch with a tiny bit of potato inside.
Well, you got to get the curly fry.
It's about the.
It is the curly fry.
That way, it's just
it's
like
the seasoning. It's the seasoning on the.
So
fry.
it's just the flavor.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, why else do you eat anything other than the flavor?
Texture?
And for me, with the Burger King, it's I don't know if it's the particular kind of grease that they cook the shit in, but you got like a crunchy fry that has like a taste of no French fry that I've ever had before.
If it's cooked right.
And I'm telling you, it's good. I'm not talking about this fucking reheated fry bullshit. I've never had anything like that from a Burger King I went to. Whether or not that's a thing, I don't fucking know. But it may be.
Well, let's be honest. All those fries that they get, the frozen fries that you get in the supermarket, those are probably either baked or fried. Those are pre-cooked fries.
Yeah. So now they're pre-cooked, but I mean, what are you going to do? Throw them back in the oven? That's why fries out of the oven taste like shit.
I don't think so. I mean, it depends on the fry.
I believe any French fry is cooked in the oven.
I do not agree with it.
Unless you slice the potato yourself.
I think you're on drugs.
If you buy just the cheap regular fries that they have in the bags, like the store brand, then yeah, they're probably going to suck. But if you buy like the decent brand fries that are frozen in a bag, like the crinkle cuts and stuff like that, you put them in the oven, and I personally overcook them slightly because I like my fries to be crunchy, and I like the fries. I mean, it's not as good as a fresh potato, cut it up and put it in a pan with some oil. Yeah, that is the best. That is the best fry out of all fries. I do that.
I do that too.
Okay. You have to make
that's the best fry.
Yes, exactly. That is why I do it, because and cook it in vegetable oil. I have used vegetable oil, but the best fry that you're gonna get, you're gonna take a fresh potato, you're gonna chop it up, and you're gonna put it in a frying pan with vegetable oil.
You've never had potato fucking fry? Like actual cut up potato fry?
Not fresh like you guys are talking about. I assume. Okay.
He's missing out, Ken.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so Let us know down in the comments below what your particular favorite fast food French fry is. Or, maybe you like all natural and, make the shit yourself.
Or you like all three.
Or you can also, go ahead and smash that like button. And, feel free to share, subscribe, and
hit that bell button, baby.
My precious.
I'm glad I'm not the creepy guy on this one.
Hey, sit your ass back down. We're not done yet.
What are we doing now?
Sit the fuck down.
What are we doing? I thought we were done.
Thank you for watching this episode.
Are we really continuing? Or are we just don't know what's happening?
He made me laugh. I'm sorry. Thank you for watching episode 9 of the podcast. Obviously, we're going to work on coming up with a name for this shit, and there are other things coming down the road in the future. I, of course, am Gregor Guy, joined by Mr. Casey and Mr. Cuz, because he apparently wants to be called Mr. Cuz now. But, thank you all for watching. You have a good night.
Until next time.